And it becomes quite difficult because, as the name suggests, a lot of times in these frenzied states, there is a lot of indecision that comes, and hence yes, no, maybe. So even with the project, there's been several moments where I've been like, I'm not doing this. What am I doing?
Welcome to Red Bull Premieres, which brings you the freshest new independent music from across India. Co-curated by me, Sprike, a producer, DJ, and label head at Skipper Beat. This edition of Red Bull Premieres features the new media practitioner and musician Akshat Naurial, also known as Yes No Maybe, with his upcoming single The Other.
Take it all and go away. Take it all and get out of my life. Burn the bridges on the way. Still gonna make it to the other side.
My name is Akshat Naurial. I'm a new media artist and I work with emerging technologies along with film and motion graphics. I've also been a musician with bands like Another Vertical Rush, and I currently play with Hoirong. I'm also a co-founder of an urban arts organization called Start India Foundation, and I'm Yes No Maybe.
Fantastic. I'm actually quite intrigued by all the things you do, man. So let's start with Yes, No, Maybe. What's the concept behind this project?
So Yes No Maybe essentially is a space where I can have all my creative vices kind of talk to each other rather than pull me apart in different directions. Like I mentioned, I work with film and various kind of mediums, and what happens is that a lot of times the work is happening in isolation of each other. And this is a place where I find at least try to make them work with each other and trying to explore directions which can all cohesively come together to produce, say, a few outputs.
Right. And it's interesting because I think you've developed some visual elements and interesting sort of bits for Yes, No, Maybe specifically as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the idea is that I wanted to explore augmented reality as a performative tool, also to look at creating immersive experiences, because that's something that I do as an artist, and that's something that I'm really interested in, where the experience is kind of something where the people can be engulfed in a space with visuals and things. So initially the idea was to do some live shows with augmented reality experience integrated into them, where some triggers appear on a screen and you can see the filters real time. But because of the situation we find ourselves in right now, and live scene being a little distant, what I decided to make a music video for my previous track, which was called Ashes, using 3 custom-built augmented reality filters. And I shot a lot of footage because, again, it was the lockdown. I couldn't really go out and shoot with people, which would have ideally been the case. I didn't want to necessarily put myself in it, but I had no option. So because I wanted to make that video, I made these filters and post-produced them in After Effects to create this kind of visual aesthetic for the song. So the plan is to keep trying to push the boundaries of technology as much as I can with the knowledge that I have, and supplement them as visuals for the music that I'm creating.
Lovely, man. I want to ask you, where are these augmented reality filters at? Like, how does someone get their hands on it and maybe try it out?
So they're on my Instagram. That's @_Taska, which is Akshat spelled backwards. You can find all the work there because I'm publishing on Instagram as a platform, because that helps, it has a captive audience already. It has a large user base. So it kind of cuts off the middleman in terms of having to publish an app and then trying to get it to people. So that's the platform that I'm currently publishing on.
Amazing, man. I want to ask you, I know you've been a part of the music circuit for quite some time. This isn't your first project in the music scene, in India at least. But how is this different to the other outfits that you've been a part of? And what are these outfits that you've been a part of over the years?
Right. So currently I'm a drummer for Hoirong, which is a noise rock punk alternative. I don't know, these genres are always difficult to kind of get through, but we do things which are kind of it's just music made with the intent of being ourselves, and it's kind of anti-scene and kind of anti-establishment in some way, while Another Vertigo Rush was a totally prog rock metal bordering on metal kind of a band. So sound wise they're both very different, but I feel like in a lot of ways the approach was still to try and say something with the projects. And Yes No Baby essentially is a completely personal project. It's, of course, the sound is very, very different from these other projects that I have. But for me, it's almost like looking at a song as a journey to a certain extent, which kind of is it's implicative of my general state of being a lot of times, where it's shuttling between different states of being, whether from between mania and melancholy. So that way the sound is extremely different, but I still feel that there's some synergy between the approaches that I have had, say, with Hoirong, where a lot of times there's something to talk about rather than just making a song, I feel.
Yeah, fantastic. I believe you're also singing on some of the Yes No Maybe tracks. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Surprisingly.
And has that process been any different, considering you started off as a drummer and now you're also writing your own lyrics and singing?
Honestly, it's been very trying, and it's been one of the most difficult things to actually accept and move beyond.
On and on it goes the same. Every day is just a passing over. All a little bit insane. Never ending till it's done. It's over.
I've done sort of backing vocals at times, but never really put myself out there. And it's also lyrically and it's a very personal project in a lot of ways, in the kind of things that I'm talking about, and that is a challenge, to be honest with you. And it becomes quite difficult because, as the name suggests, a lot of times in these frenzied states there is a lot of indecision that comes, and hence yes, no, maybe. So even with the project, there's been several moments where I've been like, I'm not doing this, what am I doing? But I've also reached that point in life where I have to accept and just be myself, and this is what I feel, and this is what I'm being able to create with all the whatever little knowledge that I have in life and that I've gained so far, and that's what this project is. So to answer your question, it has been a challenge, but I also feel that because lyrically it's quite close to me, that I needed to put my voice behind things.
No, that's great, man, and it's turned out beautifully, I must say. I want to ask you, the first description that I read about the Yes No Maybe project was a little while back, and it says it's a new media journey through the human condition. And I personally know that a lot of your work revolves around speculation, design, and imagining things. So what are the speculations or ideas that inform the Yes No Maybe project for you? What's the premise?
So as a general part of my practice, I've been very interested in exploring the constantly sort of evolving nature between technology and humans and its impact on human psychology. A couple of years ago in my research, I found this essay by Elliot Benjamin, who was a mathematician and philosopher, and he spoke about this thing called digital existentialism, about how the technology in the future it's just going to absorb us eventually. And that really resonated with me, because I feel that the world we live in and the kind of things that are going on and that are happening, with so much access to information and so many touch points for triggers and things, I think existentialism is almost a core philosophy of our generation, and that looked at in this generation of digital media, where there's an over explosion of content, that the impact of that can honestly be studied years later, because philosophy a lot of times is a personal experience of the person with the world around them, with the external world. And I feel that is something that I want to explore, and that is something that will only be clear in years to come. And that's why I call this sort of a new media journey through digital existentialism. I know it sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo, but it's quite close to what I am at least doing and how I articulate it. So that's kind of where a lot of the core principles of the project come from, and that extends across my work, not just with Yes No Maybe, but Yes No Maybe is a bit more personal that way.
Fantastic, man. Well, more power to you. I'm looking forward to all the amazing stuff you have coming as part of the project. I just want to thank you once again for being a part of Red Bull Premieres and sharing your track with us. Any final thoughts you want to leave our viewers with?
No, firstly, thank you to Red Bull for having this track on. I'm really excited about it. It's not something that I had initially planned, but I think it really worked across really well. Everybody can go check out the track on redbull.in/premieres. It's a great platform for emerging artists, and people are doing some cool things. So thank you for having me.
Fantastic, man. I will hopefully see you very soon. Until then, take care and all the best with everything.